Hey Argo fans, Daniele Franceschi joining you for the Argos Admirals. It's week 5 in the Canadian Football League and the Argonauts returning home this week to take on the BC Lions at Rogers Centre on a Tuesday night of all things. It's a midweek game, however, nonetheless, it's the conclusion of week 5. They had an 11-day layoff in between games, and they will also have a new man at the helm on Tuesday night. Of course, Ricky Ray suffering a knee injury last week in Winnipeg. The severity it's not as severe as that of running back Chad Cackard, who also suffered a knee injury and is expected to be out 4 to 6 weeks. The door is now opened for rookie running back Curtis Steele, who will be making his first career CFL start on Tuesday night. But another first career CFL start will be coming for Zach Collaros. That's right, we've seen Zach Collaros develop into a CFL caliber quarterback, and we've seen him really flourish in the Argonauts offensive system with Scott Milanovic and Marcus Brady this year through training camp, preseason, and limited regular season action. Zach has been tremendous for the Argonauts. Of course, the latest that you will recall is against Saskatchewan. He orchestrated a late touchdown drive, garbage time touchdown, but nonetheless, it was against the first string defense of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Of course, he had two strong performances in preseason against Winnipeg and Montreal. He had a tremendous training camp and has really solidified himself as the backup for the Argonauts this year, and he's going to have an opportunity to prove why Scott Milanovic labeled him as the number 2 guy on the roster depth chart, and that's coming this Tuesday night against the BC Lions. The emotions will be there. The jitters, pregame jitters, will be there. It's his first career CFL start, one of the more meaningful games he's ever played in since leaving college and Cincinnati, where he was the star quarterback there. But nonetheless, he hasn't really played in any high-pressure situations in quite a while. And the same can be said for Curtis Steele, who, for the first time since college, as he noted several times, this is the biggest game of his career. This is the opportunity he's been waiting for. And if he wants to prove himself in the Canadian Football League, this game will go a long way in doing that. Curtis Steele wants to also make an impact and show that he belongs here in the Canadian Football League. This is a game where I think both guys, the two new guys in the backfield for the Argonauts, if you want to say that, it's Zach Collaros starting under center and Curtis Steele in the back at tailback. I think they're going to be motivated. I think those are going to be two guys that are determined to put on a good performance to show that they belong. And I think, and personally for myself, I'm complete confidence in a guy like Zach Collaros and Curtis Steele. I'm really excited to see Curtis Steele from what he's done in practice this week. He's looked tremendous. Zach Collaros, Scott Milanovic noted he's been fantastic as well. So I'm really excited to see what these two guys can bring to the table that maybe are different and contrast to what Ricky Ray and Chad Cackard bring. Tuesday's game also marks the second time that former Lion Khalif Mitchell will be taking on his former team since being traded to Toronto earlier this offseason. Mitchell, of course, in that Week 2 meeting with the Lions, took a costly roughing the passer penalty in the fourth quarter that ultimately resulted in Andrew Harris's game-winning 4-yard touchdown run. However, the defense did an admirable job against a strong Lions offense in that football game. It was the Argonauts offense that struggled to find any consistency and string together some good drives. There was a feeling that if the Argonauts were going to beat the Lions, if they could put together a couple good drives maybe in the second half, there was a potential that they could just steal the game. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and the Argonauts offense struggled to find any momentum and to really seize control of the football game, although the opportunity presented itself in that BC game. Lost in the Argonauts' injury concerns this week is the fact that there's change on the defensive side of the football once again. With the release of Brendan Isaac. In terms of reasoning for Isaac's release, Scott Milanovic didn't offer much insight when he addressed the media earlier this week, discussing the injury issues for the Argonauts as well as the release of Brendan Isaac and the transactions made on the roster. The Argonauts brought in 2 defensive backs, Hugo Lopez and Ricardo Coakley. If you recall, Coakley played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, has experience within the CFL. Of course, it's going to take some time for them to adjust to the Argonauts' defensive systems. But as of right now, it's Jamie Robinson filling in at that position where Brendan Isaac used to play, and Joshua Gatlin has been inserted we've seen at practice that he's been inserted into what Jamie Robinson had at the cornerback position. And now for my 3 keys to victory for what the Argonauts need to do well in order to be victorious on Tuesday night, and it begins on the defensive side of the football. And I'm going to call it defensive adjustments, if you will, and more particularly in-game defensive adjustments. They know what Andrew Harris brings to the table. They know what Travis Luley brings to the table. However, what they don't know is how Jamie Robinson or guys like Joshua Gatlin are going to fill in at particular positions, and that starts with the departure of Brandon Isaac, now in black and gold uniform, as we saw this past weekend, playing his first game with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. But nonetheless, there's got to be questions for the Argonauts, wondering how guys like Jamie Robinson can fill in at that particular position, what they bring to the table, and they're going to really need to learn a lot about themselves on Tuesday night, and in terms of their skill set and what they can and can't do that Brendan Isaac used to do at that particular position. If the Argonauts want to come out victorious on Tuesday night, they're going to need to make a lot of in-game adjustments, and I think it's going to be more of the in-game adjustments that are going to weigh larger on the outcome of that game of Tuesday night's game than the preparation put in during practice this week. As I just discussed the defensive side of the football, I got to go back there and we talk about Andrew Harris and what he means to the BC Lions. He's the catalyst of their offense. When the BC Lions go, it's because Andrew Harris is leading the way. We saw last week in Edmonton against Edmonton. He had 3 touchdowns, and the BC Lions were offensively flawless in that football game. If the Argonauts want to be successful on Tuesday night, of course, as we said, we talked about rookie running back making his first career CFL start, potentially Zach Claros also making his first career CFL start. The Argonauts are going to have to stop Andrew Harris. You can't let BC come out and run on you consistently. They had that happen with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Corey Sheets, and the Argonauts were pretty ticked off about that as a unit, defensive unit. They were pretty upset with themselves that they allowed that to happen, to get run on consistently. So if the Argonauts want to turn the trend around and show that their defense can stop the run and that they can make a stand, it all begins with stopping the run and stopping Andrew Harris both as a receiver and in the run game. Curtis Steele, he's a very talented back. He's going to give you those. He's a bruiser. He's more of a up and down type of runner. He's going to give you that shiftiness. He knows that the main priority for him is to protect the quarterback, and he talked about that all week long. He said he's been working hard with the coaching staff to get accustomed to the offensive assignments, to the blocking schemes, and everything that he has to adjust to. But he says that he's confident because he's prepared for this moment. He said that anything can happen, and Chad Kacker knows that as well as anybody else. And he also noted that this week, Scott Milanovich as well, that preparation is important because it can happen at any particular time. And Curtis Steele is confident that he's prepared well enough throughout the course of the season so far that he'll be able to get inserted into the lineup and really bring to the table what Chad Kacker brings in terms of blocking, and also add his own mixture into the running game. And of course, the Argonauts have struggled with the run game this season. They've struggled to get Chad Kacker involved. Hopefully, maybe a change in the backfield with Curtis Steele will revitalize that running game, and we'll see if that happens. But it couldn't hurt for the Argonauts at this point. It could be a very important key to victory for the Argonauts if they can mix in the run game, especially if you have Zach Claros back there. He's going to need that kind of support. What better way to spend a Tuesday night than coming down to the Rogers Center, supporting the Argonauts, watching some CFL football? That's right. It's a midweek game, but it's a conclusion of Week 5. Weird schedule, but nonetheless, we hope to see you all there on Tuesday night, Argos fans. And, of course, feel free to interact with us at any time leading up to the game. Use the Argos Live hashtag on Twitter through game day and participate in our live Facebook game chat. We appreciate it always. We hope to see you all there on Tuesday night. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you can't make it, the game will be on TSN beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can also listen to it live on TSN 1050 Radio with Argonauts play-by-play voice Mike Hogan.